Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I have not made a video. Literally today is day 14 that I have not sat in front of the computer and clicked record. But I do have a good reason for it. And for those of you that have been keeping up with my content on any of my YouTube channels, whether it's this one or any of my other several YouTube channels, you will know that I have been consistent for several weeks, or frankly, I think it was like going on 2 months. I think it was like 2 months. Where I was consistent. I did not miss a single day on uploading content. Or I didn't miss an upload schedule, I should say. And anyhow, but for good reason, is if you've seen my last video, you will know that I was under the weather during Thanksgiving. I literally recorded a video on November 26th, and literally the day right before Thanksgiving, and then I uploaded that video on Thanksgiving Day, which was November 27th. And in that video, you will know and see that I was under the weather. And I do my absolute best to kind of not show it as much, especially if you know me. If you know me personally, you will know that I tend not to show how I really am feeling. Like I could literally be in the hospital with pneumonia, collapsed lungs, and my stats will show that I'm doing miserable, but my appearance wise, I will, make a joke, or I will laugh, or I would say something or do something, to kind of keep the light within the room. You know what I mean? That's just personally me. That's just my personality. And within the video, you will know and see that I was not feeling too good. I was doing miserable with my respiratory. And this was literally like 2 years in a row. This is the second year where I was under the weather, or I have been under the weather during Thanksgiving. Last year, I was actually in the hospital for, I think it was like close to 2 weeks. I think it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks. No, I think it was like 2 weeks. Last year I was in the hospital for like roughly 2 weeks with same problem with my respiratory. It wasn't doing too well. And this year, same thing. Although I wasn't in the hospital, I was honestly very, very close to having to go to the hospital. Like I was literally right at the edge. I was just trying to weigh it out as much as possible and do what I can to kind of get better here without any medical intervention. And it was just quite the process, quite the season. And I wanted to make this video because if you have been keeping up with any of my content styles, whether it's on this one or any of my other several YouTube channels, you will know that I have been consistent with uploading content, regardless of how I was feeling. And I have been off and on with my respiratory since October, where literally like a week I will be doing not so good with my respiratory, and then the following week I will be doing great with my respiratory. And it's been like back and forth literally since the beginning of October. But this time when I fell under the weather, I just couldn't shake it. I had a cough, and then it was congestion, and I just couldn't shake it. I was coughing up so much phlegm where it was one, okay, there's two sides of this. The good thing about it is me feeling the way that I was feeling, I was able to cough up a lot of phlegm. Now, for those who know me personally, know it is extremely difficult for me to cough up phlegm, where sometimes or a lot of times, I do need assistance in order to really, really bring out those suppressed secretions. And, this time I was actually able to actually just cough it up myself, which was a very, very good thing, which was a good indication. But I was coughing up so much where I felt like my lungs were hurting. I can't really describe it. I think it was just because I'm flexing the muscles so much, like when you're coughing, where my lungs were sore. It was an interesting experience. But I was just, I was able to cough up a lot, but I coughed up so much phlegm. This is probably TMI, but I coughed up so much phlegm where I myself was impressed with how much I actually was able to get out, like day to day. It was very, very impressive. Gross, but very impressive. And I wanted to make this video. I know this is probably different because I really don't talk about that kind of detail in my style of content, but I wanted to create this video because one, there's several reasons to it. The reason behind it is because one, I think it's kind of cool and kind of good to document this process, this moment. So like later when I reflect back on my YouTube channel, I could be like, oh wow, like I do remember going through that season. I do remember what that moment was like. It's cool for documentation on my end. And then two, it's like cool documentation on your guys' end as well to, see where I was and then to later see where I am then. I think, it's a win-win. It's a win for me because again, I can reflect off of that moment and be like, I remember sitting in that room. I remember, having that set up in the background. I remember, for example, it's Christmas, it's holiday. I remember having my very first Christmas tree in the background, as you guys can see here. I always wanted a Christmas tree in my office, which, this is the first year I actually was able to do it. I ended up surprising my mom with her Christmas tree this year. And it's always been a dream of mine to always get my mom her Christmas tree. And it's always been a dream of mine to get the family a Christmas tree. And although I was not able to do that, I was able to get my mom and I was able to get one of my aunts their Christmas tree. So to me, it was like a dreaming moment. It was a really good feeling. And then I always wanted to get myself a Christmas tree for my office, and I happened to do that, which is here in the background. And I wanted it more in the camera, but the angle and the way how I kind of have my setup, this was like the best angle, in my opinion, to record content. But yeah, so I wanted to do that, but I wanted to record this video because I wanted to get back into momentum. I'm finally beginning to feel better. I still have a little bit of phlegm, but not like what I once was. Like I'm pretty much about 95% better compared to where I was. I was again miserable during Thanksgiving, where honestly that Thanksgiving weekend, I really thought I was going to have to go to the hospital. Fortunately, I was able to wait out and do what I can here at home and endure that season. It was quite the season. And two, I want to, before I close out today's video, is I want to mention as well, like when I go through these seasons, it's like, it has been a very, very long time that I have felt this fatigue again in a very, very long time. Now, any individual, whether you have SMA or not, when you feel under the weather, what happens? You feel fatigue, right? Now, when you feel fatigue, the difference between an ordinary individual, meaning ordinary in terms of someone who doesn't have a physical disability, is for the ordinary individual, when you feel under the weather, you feel more sluggish, you feel more fatigue. Now, for someone in my case, where you have SMA, I cannot speak for everyone, but for me, having SMA in addition to feeling under the weather, by default, having SMA, you feel fatigue. It just comes with the territory. But now, on top of feeling under the weather, especially the way that I was feeling, it hits you a lot. It hits you several times harder than the ordinary individual. And during this process, during this season, I have been feeling a lot more fatigue than usual. When I say fatigue, I'm talking about I have actually been needing assistance to eat. And I have not had my mom help feed me in a very, very long time. It's been quite some time. And when I say eat, I mean literally she has to pick up the utensil and feed me. And she actually did this recently when we were out in public. And, again, how we got the Christmas trees and doing all that, I was just still recovering, and I was in public and I tried to really, really feed myself, especially because I'm in a public setting, and I couldn't do it. Like personally for me, like moments like that really do get to you mentally and emotionally. And, where you begin to kind of question, is this it? Like, is my SMA getting to the next stage? Is this my new normal? And, during seasons like that, I want to emphasize that behind the individual that you see is someone just like you. They're trying. And they are not so much just trying, they are doing the best with what they know they can do. So having that said, I want you to know that when you go through seasons in life, because you will go through seasons in life, I want you to know that, one, everything in life is temporary. So having that said, knowing everything in life is temporary, I want you to know that the season you are going through, it is going to pass. Now, some things, unfortunately, are going to become your new normal. And you are going to have to adapt to these situations that are now your new normal. But I want you to know that as you navigate these seasons through life, I want you to know that where you are, it isn't where you always will be. Everything does get better. The only difference between where you are and where you will be then is what you do within the moment, within the process, how you endure that process, how you react to those moments. That right there is what defines you. That right there is what is going to get you from point A to point B. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I have not, again, recorded a video in 14 days. So I feel rusty with my communication style. I feel rusty with my storytelling. And, I am going to be getting my momentum back. I apologize too. My hair is not the greatest. I am getting a haircut soon. And I thought about waiting and just record content after I get my haircut. But I was like, start building up your momentum now. Like stop, I don't want to use the word procrastinating, but stop putting this to the side. Make it a priority, regardless of how you think you may look. Just get it done. Build up that momentum. And yeah. And two, like how I said, I was feeling fatigue. My mom had to help me feed myself. My mom had to help feed me. And, seasons like that really do mentally get to you. Personally, I'm trying to stay optimistic and think it's more temporary. I'm hoping it's more temporary. And I think it is because I'm starting to feed myself again. I'm just noticing I'm having to adapt a little bit in terms of how I'm positioned at the dinner table. And I think that's just temporary. But yeah, my phone's been heavy as well. And it's just comes with the territory of life. And, you do the best with what you can, and you appreciate the moments and the people around you as much as you can. That's also very important. Don't take life for granted, because you just never know, And yeah, appreciate life. To close out today's video, I want you to remember to appreciate life, count your blessings, focus on the positive, and keep the faith. I think that's a very, very important factor. Because as I was going through the season, faith and prayer were a very, very, very big part of my routine. Always is, still is. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And as always, grow through what you go through, but stay tuned, because I am actually starting a new podcast where I created a podcast already. I just haven't uploaded the first episode yet, but I created a podcast called Victor Guerra Podcast. And the reason why I chose Victor Guerra Podcast, which is going to be attached to this YouTube channel, the reason why I did that is because I am currently working on something, and when people search up my name, Victor Guerra, I want them, if you do that now, Victortheinspiration is going to be one of the biggest things that is going to pop up in front of you, especially if you do a Google research. Now, I've been working on something, and I've been brainstorming, okay, how can I best suit my marketing and my SEO in terms of Google? And Victor Guerra, I thought, was one of the good ones to use as my personal name. So when people look up Victor Guerra, they're going to come across my YouTube channel, and then they're going to come across my podcast. And I also wanted to start a podcast because I have been creating content for several years now on just this YouTube channel, and I have seen very little to no growth. Now, I'm trying to discover why that is. Like, I'm not trying to inflate my ego here, but I'm trying to become mindful. Like, I know my content's not horrible. Like, I have good audio. I upgraded my camera, I upgraded my audio, my microphone. I have a decent background. Could it be improved? Definitely. There's always room for improvement in regards to everything, right? But I've been thinking. I was like, what's the issue here? Like, why am I seeing very little to no growth? And one, I definitely do need to start working on collaborations in terms of podcasts and really get my name out there, which is something I'm going to be focused on as we enter the new year, and coming into 2026. But I thought about doing a podcast because when people look up content, I recently discovered that when you go on YouTube, it actually shows you different YouTube videos from, whether it's like music or podcasts or just regular YouTube videos. And when people look up YouTube videos, I have hundreds and hundreds of content available. Now, when people look up podcasts, I also want my content to be within that category, within that area as well. So I thought about creating a podcast on my YouTube channel, again utilizing my name, so it would be more beneficial for marketing purposes and promotional purposes. You look up Victor Guetta, and you're going to come across who's Victor Guetta. My name should be the primary thing that pops up, which is Victor the Inspiration. And yeah, so this video is a little bit of a life update. I have no idea the title of this video just yet. But again, I just wanted to create a video, upload it. And again, I was going to wait until I got a haircut, but I was like, is it really that bad? It is. It honestly has been a lot worse. But it's doable. Like, that's just me trying to aim for, I don't want to use the word perfection, but something better. And, but this is good. And so I kind of had to talk myself out of that. But yeah, so I wanted to upload this video. Again, it's been 14 days. I wanted to build up that momentum, get it going again. I was really, really planning on uploading as much content as much as possible, especially during the holidays, because of the attention that is currently on the platform and the attention that is just on social media in general. During the holidays, there's a huge amount of attention during the holidays. A lot of people are more attached to their devices. And so I was trying to take advantage of that. Again, I ended up under the weather. And as much as it was a season, if my mind serves accurately, I do believe that I said, I think God has been trying to slow me down. And I think, unfortunately, he made me go through this season. And I believe I said something along those lines in the last episode. And, during that, I do believe, as I was going through the season, he was trying to tell me to slow it down, and I just wasn't getting the hint. And unfortunately, he had to force me to slow it down, which is, hey, you're going to go through a season, you're going to feel under the weather, but, it's going to be for your benefit. Now, I don't know quite yet the benefit yet, but I am grateful and thankful that he did tell me to slow down, because within that process, I have been brainstorming on a lot of different ideas that I could be working on and should consider doing. And a lot of those ideas that I really was thinking about doing were not the greatest now that I reflect on it and think about it. And, because I went through the season that I was going through and he slowed me down, I was able to find some clarity within the fog that I was navigating through. And now now I know and have a much more healthier sense of direction in terms of the plan that I have, more so for this YouTube channel. And even my other YouTube channels as well. I have much more clarity, much more of an actual vision than simply just doing. Yeah. But I love you guys. Again, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. This video is more of a life update. And currently, I also want to update you guys as well. again, me feeling under the weather, I was feeling more fatigue. But in addition to all of this and everything that I just shared with you guys, is I am starting to be able to feed myself again. I am starting to be able to operate my phone again. My phone is still increasingly heavy. Where even I have even thought about this earlier this year, like several months back, thinking about downsizing my phone because I currently have the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but I think I'm gonna get just the Pro, which is the smaller phone. But I have to think about the weight because I know the new iPhone 17 is heavier, so I gotta think about that. But yeah, so my phone's been a little bit heavier. Uh, Being on the computer was a lot more difficult as well. And two, I had to. It's just been a season to say the least. But just like any season, you keep the faith, you do what you can, and you endure the moments because those moments are ultimately going to dictate where you end up. So it's how you view those moments, how you sail through those moments is what is going to determine from where you are to where you end up going. I like that. I like that closing message. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And again, as always, remember, grow through what you go through. Much love.